Hi everybody, welcome back to Sharon's Home and Garden. What a difference a week makes. This past week has been warm and muggy, and it has rained and thunderstormed, and it has made a huge difference in the garden. Everything is growing. So let me show you around. We're going to start with a greenhouse. I did manage to find some shade cloth. Now this shade cloth is a 50% shade cloth, and I got it in green instead of in black just because I thought it would look nicer. The piece came in, it's 6 feet by 20 feet, so I just cut it in half. And I had no idea how I was gonna attach it to the greenhouse, but there's a gutter here, so I just put these binder clips. And we just had a windstorm, and it hardly moved on top of this greenhouse. So it is making a difference by keeping the heat down in the greenhouse. The other thing I wanted to show you is my clematis vine that I just put in. It has begun its climb up the trellis, which is good news for me. Here also, that means that I didn't kill it when I planted it. So they're both, this one here is climbing too. They're both doing really well. Here in my little lettuce bed, you can see this lettuce needs to be trimmed, needs to be cut. And here is some that I cut at the beginning of this week. And my green onions are doing pretty well. They all seem to be pretty happy. These tomatoes here, these are the clones from the hydroponic. This just popped up here, and they're looking a little spotty. I don't know if that's dirt. Is that dirt? No, that's not dirt. So we're gonna have to treat these, but it has to stop raining for me to treat them. And what I'll do is I'll spray them with a hydrogen peroxide spray. But there's another storm on the way, so I'm gonna wait till it stops raining, and then we will begin to treat those. They're doing pretty good. Along with the storm came some high winds, and it blew all the peppers this way. It blew them all to the right. Not the peppers, the cucumbers. I just want to stop here for a second and say that I'm going to have several stumbles in this video because I substituted for one of our pastors at church for 2 services, and I was just brain dead. So I have to go through, they have grown a lot. I have to go through like right there. I need to get that on the fence. But they have really, really grown. Now one of these cucumbers was one of the breeds I bought to grow in the hydroponic garden, and it has nothing but female flowers. It is a hybrid that only has female flowers, grown for production, obviously. And there is a lot of cucumbers on that one. Be interesting to see what those are like. Here's some more down here. They look good. The rest of the cucumber plants are just starting to get their flowers. Look how pretty that is. The peppers are doing really well. In just a week, they have gotten quite a bit taller. Now these are the ornamental peppers here, there, and there. And with all this heat and humidity, the marigolds I put in here I think are getting bigger than the peppers. Now the bell peppers over here are just finally starting to flower, and we even have some fruit in there. Right here. So these ones in here, I believe, are Jimmy Nardellos. These ones are also doing well, just finally starting to set their flowers. And these ones, these are called corbaci. Another bell type flower. Now I have noticed, look at these. They all have some kind of fungus on them. So I need to treat them. And these ones are all California Wonder Peppers. But it has to stop raining for me to treat them. Here we have the Japanese long cucumbers starting to make their climb. I really would like them to be on this side. Instead of the other side. And here is why you use these bottles, so you can see where to plant or where to water. They are really getting big, filling up this space. These are squashes. And this is the loofah. And that is a birdhouse gourd. So the heat and humidity has really made my lettuce want to bolt. And I tasted one part of it and it was bitter, pulled that out. Tasted another part of it, it was fine. So I'm hoping to get all this out, cut up, and into a salad. The cherry tomatoes over here. I think we should take a poll and find out how long you think it's going to be before I lose containment of these cherry tomatoes. They just grow so fast. So I have some trimming up to do there. So I did manage to plant some watermelons. This is a Moon and Stars watermelon over here. And then I have two different kinds of watermelon here. So they will fill up. I'm going to try to train these ones up the trellis, and I'm going to let those grow in a circle here. We'll see how that works out. Up here in this planter, I have some Tumbling Tom tomatoes. They're always fun to grow. And as soon as it stops raining, we will have to treat them as well because they're very blighty. Again, these are melons, and they have really grown in the last week. Different kinds of sweet melon, banana melon, a yellow melon, a pink melon, all different kinds. Oh, and the other thing I planted are my morning glories. I planted 3 different varieties, and all 3 are doing about the same as this one as he makes his climb up the trellis. So you can see here I planted some grass for the grass that was damaged when I put in the garden, and it's all coming up, which is always good to see. Tomatoes are all doing really well. There's a few places I have to tie them up, but look at all the flowers on them. So many flowers. I am going to be canning tomatoes this year. So this should give me a nice variety. Look at all the different leaf styles. That type of leaf. This one's almost a bluish. Another kind of leaf. I think it's so pretty how they're all so unique. And this one plant down here that had curled leaves still has curled leaves, but I think this tomato might just have curled leaves on it. I don't know. But the rest of them all seem fine. But it is flowering. So this is an Abe Lincoln tomato, and it has, I don't know if I'll be able to do this, the biggest blossoms on it. They're huge. Those are going to be some big tomatoes. At first I thought they were double blossom. I usually pull the double blossoms off. But they're not. They're single blossom. And the flower bed. It's like fireworks over this week. Don't they look beautiful? I have just noticed the honeybees lately. It's kind of like a, if you build it, they will come. Look at that. Say Cosmo. There's some really cool cosmos in here. Look at this one over here. Aren't they pretty? I love having this bed of flowers in the middle of my garden. This Nicotiana, I've never grown Nicotiana before. Just an explosion of color. And look at this Cosmo. And the zinnias. These yellow smell so good. Or green, they're supposed to be green. I just remembered I had a spot on my lens, so hopefully I got it off. The tarragon, I've trimmed a bunch of this because it was growing into the tomatoes I have over there. So I've trimmed that back. In here I have some bush tomatoes. These are the ones that a dead mouse in here. These are the ones that I treated with Epsom salt and a fertilizer. And they all seem to have recovered very well, especially this one. This is the Dr. Witchy's. That one really seems to have recovered from that. So that's looking good. I really want to spray all these. It just has to stop raining. Peppers in the back all look really good. I don't know what's going on with those, but look at the flowers on this one. These are the black peppers. Beautiful flowers. Zucchini is finally showing some growth now that it's warm. And look at this beautiful yarrow. The colors on here are just wonderful. Beans and peas have really taken off. But you know what's funny is I don't have any flowers on the beans. I may just end up eating, or on the peas, I may just end up eating pea shoots. But the beans are just about ready to flower. What are you doing in the garden? Okay, over here we have, in the back is the ground cherries. And they are setting fruit. See if I can step in here and show you. You can see them there. Zucchinis in the middle. Finally getting some size. And look at the sunflowers, they're finally getting some height to them. And we have more zucchini. And these are the bush delicatas. This is a lychee tomato berry. And some parsley and chives. And then the herb bed is finally starting to grow, to fill in. And some of the basil is finally getting some height to it. I wish you could smell it. It smells so good. The only thing I'm having a problem with is my cilantro. I can't keep it from bolting. I think I'm just going to pull it out of here because I don't really like cilantro anyway. I just heard that if you grow it yourself, it tastes different than the cilantro in the store. So oregano is growing really well. Down over here, this is some thyme that I bought. This is lemon thyme. Just starting to flower. I should pick those. So that bed looks really good. Over here in my buckets, this hasn't really changed much, except I'm finally getting some flowers on this plant. And this one has really gained some height. It's got really soft leaves. Those are both garden berries, both of those. And the potatoes. We're just waiting for the tops to die back. They really haven't changed much in the last week. Hopefully they are growing some good taters in there. In this bed, I have been thinning out these onions to use as green onions. And then I pulled out my spinach and radishes. And then I have, this is really wet in here, so I'm going to try to do this. This Afina cutting celery. I did cut one off, and it's really good, really good. And then I wanted to show you this one other celery in here that looks really good. Doesn't that look good? That's just your regular old Utah. And then the pink celery. So pretty. That'll be the next one I cut. I love how full celery gets. It's a very satisfying thing to grow. So I threw my milkweed in this pot. 2 different kinds. And this is just starting to flower. They look great. Look at this rhubarb. It's really gotten big. Looks good. And the huckleberries. I've never grown huckleberries before. Something is chewing on the leaves. Again, as soon as it stops raining, I will spray this with neem oil. Spray. And see, because I look and I don't see anything. Must come out at night. But I do have a few ripe berries. Now this particular huckleberry, you're supposed to cook the berries when they're ripe. The green ones are poisonous, and the purple ones have to be cooked. I think if I should do it again, I'm gonna grow the huckleberry called Wonderberry, and because those you can eat when they're raw. And last but not least is my carrot buckets. They are doing really well. I don't expect to see any growth out of those for a while yet. I think that is pretty much everything. I just have to tie a bunch of things up and get them ready for the next round of storms that's coming through. We're supposed to have temps in the mid-80s this week, very high humidity, so everything should really start taking off. We have a saying here in Wisconsin: if you don't like the weather, stick around a minute, it'll change. I think everybody has that saying. But yeah, we go from winter to summer in the blink of an eye. And this year was a really long, cold spring. So it feels really good. Thank you so much for joining me for this garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you like what you saw here, don't forget to click on that subscribe button. And until next time, I'll see you in the garden. Happy gardening, everybody. Bye-bye.